Yo guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you guys are having a good day, and this is part 2 of What If Deku Had Sun Breathing. And I'm kind of ashamed in saying this right now, but please don't forget to subscribe, comment, and share. I know it's looked down upon for saying that in the beginning, but if you guys want my channel to grow and more videos to come out, don't forget to do the stuff okay? And now let's talk about why I've been posting some other what ifs. The reason is because I want to see what you guys like. If you guys like what if Deku was a Titan shifter, or what if Deku was Liu Kang's reincarnation. And if you guys want more parts of that, don't forget to share those videos so I get more views and stuff like that. And then I can definitely put other parts out for that. And other than that, guys, let's get straight into the intro.
I live inside my own world of make-believe. Kids screaming in the cradles, profanities. I see the world through eyes covered in ink and bleach. Cross out the ones who heard my cries and watched me weep. I love everything. Fire spreading all around my room. My world's so bright, it's hard to breathe, but that's alright. Hush.
Okay, so let's just jump straight into the what if. Izuku leaves the school and starts walking home because he didn't want to answer anyone's questions anymore. As he started walking through, he goes under a bridge, but didn't notice the sludge monster, as the sludge monster pops out of the vent and does the same thing in canon, as he starts suffocating Izuku trying to enter Izuku's body. As Izuku is getting more angrier and is trying to focus on his breathing, but since Izuku is suffocating, he couldn't do that. But then, out of nowhere, Izuku felt a huge sense of pressure and a huge focus on his breathing, out of nowhere, as Izuku's mark on his head started to grow, as Izuku's eyes started to glow red, as Izuku uses his hands and starts slicing up the sludge monster out of nowhere, as the sludge monster was confused what was going on, as Izuku's hands were on fire. As the sludge monster regrouped, it asked Izuku how he was able to do that, as Izuku said he didn't even know, as he never even knew this form or style of breathing before, but we know this is sun breathing. So now we continue on with the story with the sludge monster attacking Izuku again, as Izuku focuses on his breathing and dodges the attack and uses sun breathing to scorch the sludge monster as he cuts it in half, as the sludge monster is confused in how Izuku is so fast and so powerful. As he cuts the sludge monster in half, he picks up 2 bottles and starts filling the sludge monster in it. As Izuku finishes filling the sludge monster in the bottle, he uses some of his sensory breathing to sense things around him because he wants to make sure that none of his sludge monster friend could call over some friends. As Izuku's sensing around, he feels a strong presence coming toward him. As Izuku puts his hands out, getting ready to fight, waiting for the person to come. As All Might lands, he says, "I'm here." As he sees Izuku, he expects Izuku to fanboy out, but instead, Izuku was about to punch All Might in the face, but Izuku stops himself, realizing that this was All Might. As All Might sees this, he sighs, realizing that he didn't get punched, because he realized that that punch felt like it was gonna hurt. As Izuku could remember most of his childhood, and he could remember All Might somewhat, so he asks All Might if he's the #1 hero. As All Might says that he is, Izuku takes both of the bottles that were in his pockets, and he shows All Might that the sludge villain's inside of it. As All Might thanks Izuku and takes the bottles and jumps up into the air. As Izuku was suspicious still, and grabs onto All Might's legs, as All Might didn't notice. As All Might sees that Izuku grabbed onto his legs, he immediately landed on a roof. As All Might started scolding Izuku for grabbing onto his legs. As Izuku stops him and asks All Might if he's the real deal, or the real All Might. As All Might starts to explain to Izuku, telling him that he's the real All Might and he doesn't have to worry. But before All Might could continue, his timer runs out and All Might poofs into his skinny form. As Izuku said he knew it, as he puts his hands up and rushes toward All Might, as he's about to punch All Might, as All Might puts his hands up. As Izuku stopped his punch and put his hands down, and asked All Might to explain. as All Might started to explain to Izuku about his injury. As Izuku started apologizing to All Might, telling him that he's sorry for judging him too quickly. As All Might says that it's okay, but before they can all start talking again, a loud explosion appears out of nowhere. Before even All Might could react or say anything, Izuku took a deep breath in and jumped off the building. As Izuku landed, he switched his breathing styles to lightning breathing, as he immediately dashed toward the huge explosion. As Izuku got there, he sees the sludge monster, but he also sees the sludge monster also has a hostage. As he looks closer, he realizes that this is Kacchan, as Kacchan was using his explosions to escape. As he saw the sludge monster, he realizes when he must have grabbed onto All Might, the sludge monster must have fallen off. As Izuku slaps his head, as he sees the sludge monster laugh louder and louder. As Izuku gets more and more angry, as the mark on his head grows again, as his eyes glow red. As Izuku's arms immediately turn to fire, as Izuku immediately dashes toward the sludge monster, as he cuts Bakugo out of the sludge monster and puts him to the side. As Izuku reverts his attention toward the sludge monster, he immediately dashes toward the sludge monsters as the crowd couldn't even see Izuku. As Izuku immediately started cutting the sludge monster into many tiny pieces. As the sludge monster's body fell to the ground, Izuku didn't know what was going on, as the mark on his head went away, as his eye color went back to its regular green. As Izuku is realizing what was going on, he realizes the breathing technique that he just used was very similar to a combination of all the breathing styles, as Izuku wondered what was going on. But before Izuku could do anything else, all the heroes started crowding him and started praising him for his skills, as Izuku said that it was nothing, as Bakugo saw this and was getting angry, as he said that he was the one suffering and now he's getting the praise, as Bakugo walked away angrily, as Izuku beat him in the fight and now he saved him, as Bakugo walked away angrily. As everyone was done praising Izuku, Izuku walked away heading home. But before he could get home, All Might interjects and starts talking to Izuku, telling him that he inspired him and that he would like to pass on his power to Izuku. As Izuku thought and told All Might that he wouldn't like All Might's power, as he's not interested in someone else's power except his. As All Might says that it's a reasonable choice, as All Might is about to walk away. But before he could, Izuku taps All Might in the shoulder and asks All Might for some training. As All Might laughs and tells Izuku that he would be happy to train him. As Izuku wakes up the next morning, he remembers All Might telling him to wear a gym outfit and to come to the certain beach. As Izuku gets there, he sees All Might there, ready to train him. As All Might asks Izuku to lift up his shirt. As All Might tells Izuku that he doesn't look that muscular, so they're gonna probably be training. As Izuku takes off his shirt completely, All Might sees Izuku's body and sees that every muscle in his body is completely toned, as he sees many scars on Izuku's body, as All Might wonders what Izuku's training is. As All Might starts talking, telling Izuku that he was mistaken and that Izuku doesn't need to do any physical training, as All Might wonders what Izuku should be doing. As All Might tells Izuku that he doesn't have anything to train with Izuku, as Izuku sighs and is about to leave. But then, All Might tells Izuku that he probably knows someone that could help him. As Izuku meets All Might the next day, a girl was next to All Might. As she introduces herself, as her name is Shinobu Kucho, as she's the butterfly hero. Then she starts to explain to Izuku, telling him that her hero name is the insect Hashira. Then All Might starts to explain, telling Izuku that Shinobu and him have a pretty similar quirk. That's why Shinobu is gonna be training Izuku. As Izuku is still unfazed and bows to Shinobu. As Shinobu doesn't say anything, as she just blushes. As she says that it's okay and that they can be friends. As Izuku just bows again. As Shinobu says stop it. But then, All Might starts to tell Izuku that they should get started on their training right now. As Shinobu pulls out a small gorge and tells Izuku to breathe into this. As Izuku's confused, Shinobu started to explain her quirk, telling Izuku that she can breathe out poisonous gas. and now that helped her with her lung capacity. Increasing her lung capacity increased the amount of gas that she could breathe. So she told Izuku to breathe into this gorge that can expand. As Izuku nodded and started breathing into it, as he immediately broke the gorge. As Shinobu was just astonished and shocked, as she pulled out her medium gorge, as Izuku started blowing into it, as Shinobu thought that Izuku was going to, he was going to be unable to break it. But Izuku, sure enough, broke it. As Shinobu thought to herself, thinking on how it took her till her second year in UA to break the medium gorge. As she pulled out a large gorge and told Izuku to breathe into this. As Izuku kept on breathing, as Shinobu thought that this was a match for Izuku. As Izuku kept on breathing, he immediately broke it, as Shinobu is just astonished at Izuku's strength, as she gets frustrated with Izuku. As she tells Izuku to wait here, and she went to go make the huge gorge that she brought. As she brought the gorge, she told Izuku to breathe into this. As Izuku started breathing into the size of a gorge that was still his height, as Izuku was around 6 feet, as he started to breathe into it, it took him a long time to break it, as the gorge started to expand as Izuku wasn't unable to break it. By the end of the day, Izuku used a huge breath of air as he immediately broke the gorge. As Shinobu saw this, she was astonished at Izuku's strength, as she asked Izuku how he was able to do that. As Izuku just shrugged his shoulders and told her that it was just a lot of training that he did when he was a kid. As Shinobu just was astonished at Izuku's strength even more. As Shinobu calmed down, she told Izuku that it's probably gonna take her a while to make an even bigger gorge, and then told Izuku for some training, he should probably just clear all the trash that's on this beach. As Izuku woke up the next day, he started clearing all the trash that was on the beach. As Izuku actually cleared all the trash in one day, in less than 5 hours. As Izuku was just getting bored as he started doing some martial arts in the air, by himself. As he started doing some kicks and punches as he started practicing his sword forms. As Shinobu got there with her huge gorge that was at least 2 stories high. As Izuku saw it, he was astonished as he actually felt a bit nervous. But then Shinobu looked behind him and saw that Izuku cleared all the trash, as Shinobu was just astonished at Izuku's strength. But then she looked at Izuku as he actually looked worried, as Shinobu had a grin on her face, seeing that Izuku was worried of the gorge. As for the next few months, Izuku started training with the gorge, as after the 5-month mark, he was able to break it. As Shinobu saw this, she was just astonished and started asking Izuku and how he was able to break it. As Izuku just shrugged his shoulders, not knowing how to answer Shinobu's question. As Shinobu gets frustrated at this and tells Izuku that she's done making the gorges and it's probably time to spar. As Izuku said okay and is gonna be sparring Shinobu. As Shinobu gets into a fighting stance and then Izuku does. As Izuku uses the first form of the water style. As Izuku feels his styles and his breathing techniques have gotten much more powerful. As Izuku rushes at Shinobu, as Shinobu just dodges up into the air. As she tells Izuku that he's being predictable. As Izuku gets mad at this and is about to hit Shinobu again. But Shinobu coats 2 daggers with her poison and throws them at Izuku. As Izuku is about to dodge a dagger, he gets hit by another. As Izuku falls to the ground as he starts coughing uncontrollably. As Shinobu laughs, telling Izuku that he's being very predictable. He depends too much on his breathing, and now since she's making him cough, he can't breathe, so he can't use his quirk. As Izuku gets annoyed by this and gets frustrated, as Izuku's mark on his forehead starts to grow, as his eyes glow red, as Izuku just immediately stops coughing. As Shinobu was confused what was going on, as she yells at Izuku and asks him why her poison's not working. As Shinobu is confused, Izuku just stands up as his hands go on fire. As Shinobu is confused because this isn't part of his quirk. As Izuku just rushes at Shinobu and he's about to neck chop her right in the neck. But then right about before he's about to hit her, he stops himself, realizing that he could have killed her. But then, all of a sudden, Izuku succumbs to the poison and falls to the ground, passing out. As Shinobu starts to explain, telling Izuku that a part of her quirk is manipulation of the poison. so she can manipulate her poison to do anything that she wants. And she made sure that Izuku couldn't be able to move after the coughing was done. Then Shinobu starts laughing at Izuku's incompetence, but then she stops laughing, realizing that Izuku stopped himself, as that ability could have killed her, as she remembers Izuku about to neck chop her. Then she wakes up Izuku with an antidote and tells Izuku that their main priority right now is training that ability so that ability doesn't go out of control. As Izuku nods, then bowing down to Shinobu, as Shinobu blushes, telling Izuku to stop it again. As Izuku, for the rest of the few months, Izuku's been training on his Sunbreathing, as he's able to also... Okay guys, I'm gonna end the video off for right now. Okay guys, also tell me if I should give Izuku the 3 sword style. If you guys want me to give that to Izuku, don't be afraid to go down to my Discord and tell me, or if you just go down to the comment section and start typing, telling me that you guys want Zoro's powers, or Zoro's 3 sword style. Just type in Zoro's sword style or something like that. And then don't forget to subscribe, like, and share the regular stuff. And other than that, guys, I hope you guys have a good day, and I'll see you guys later.